Chapter 46. Mental Torture. Most of my friends that were serving long sentences for gang warfare weren't happy with their organizations, with the exception of the leaders who were mostly charismatic crash dummies whose resumes were loaded with bad decisions and mistakes. They felt like they sacrificed their lives for something frivolous. Most lifers went to prison as young men, with the exception of the Italian bosses. And as they slowly became seniors, most of them had regrets, especially knowing that we only get one life to live and it's no do-overs. It was like the game of dice. You had to roll it right the first time, because you seldom get to roll it twice. Wasting that awesome opportunity because you were ordered to carry out a killing in the name of a gang was excruciating. Young men went to prison at puberty and were still in prison facing prostate problems. Going from holding your 3-month-old daughter in a visiting hall to holding your 3-month-old granddaughter in the same visiting hall was tormenting. Knowing that they would never again sleep in the bed with a woman, or rub their toes through the living room carpet, or play with a dog, or wrestle with a kid, or sit beside a pond, or drive a car, or ride a skateboard, or go to their freezer to get some ice cream at 2 a.m. turned some of them into junkies. Any escape from reality was a refuge, and heroin was there as a relief. Religion was there as a consolation. Homosexuals were there as a distraction. Hermaphrodites were there as an illusion, and female officers were there as a punishment. They weren't allowed to wear perfume because the smells altered a man's brain, but their beautiful body odor would still invade our nostrils and cause us to hallucinate. The pretty face would give way to dreams of being married. The soft voice would have us wanting hugs. The sexy walk would cause wet dreams. Thoughts of intimate touching and kissing, fingering and licking, waking up in the bed soaked in semen. We became so disillusioned that we sometimes created our own women. They were called fifis. A plastic bag filled with lotion placed in a cylindrical apparatus, making love to cosmetics. Any TV show that showed the smallest hint of soft porn or a woman's body would cause everybody on the compound to stop what they were doing. Soul Train trained their souls. Miami Vice enhanced their vices to watch Bay on Baywatch. Some men fought over magazines with naked women. We called them fiend magazines because it made men fiend like drug addicts. Some men were addicted to the fiend. Their every waking day was chasing fiend. They rented and traded fiend. They knew every porn star by name and spoke about them as if speaking of a personal friend. The inability to touch a woman was psychological torture and had caused some men to turn to desperation and perversion. Their minds were warped into believing whatever it wanted to believe. Women consumed their every thoughts because women correlated with freedom. A woman looking at them meant she wanted them, no matter how long she looked. A woman's smile meant she wanted to have sex as soon as possible. A woman spoke to them meant she wanted to get married. Sexual attraction is natural, yet the gulags were designed to ignore that natural urge, which only encouraged perversion, rape, or same-sex unions. Prisoners weren't allowed to masturbate. If one was caught mastering his bait, he would be subjected to a sexual harassment disciplinary write-up and thrown in a hole. In the 70s and early 80s, some prisons were co-ed, where males and females shared the same compound. They didn't sleep in the same quarters, but they went to school, recreation, and the chow hall together. Just being in the presence of the opposite sex kept the mind sane. Having sex was supposedly forbidden at these prisons, and if a female became pregnant, her and the male who impregnated her would be removed from the compound and sent to a high-security prison. After birth, the baby would be removed from the prison and sent to the mother or the father's family, or given up for adoption. Some prisons also allowed conjugal visits where a prisoner was allowed to spend 48 to 72 hours with his wife or family in a makeshift trailer on the prison grounds. This allowed a family bond to stay intact. As the years passed, prison after prison stopped implementing these programs for a variety of reasons, mostly overfunding. In the state prisons in Washington State, it was because an inmate was caught having sex with his mother. In Oregon, it was because an inmate killed his wife in the trailer.